Good afternoon. Welcome to Stampin' All Day with Bev, Tuesdays to be continued. I'm going to get started in just about a minute and a half. So let's all hop on. I hope you can come today and watch. If not, if you're watching the replay, that's good too. I'm glad you took the time to watch the replay. Thank you all you YouTubers for showing up. I will put this on YouTube as soon as I'm done with today's live. We just have about 1 minute and then I will get started using re-inkers and felt, the to be continued that I promised on Sunday. Hi Carol, welcome. So, it's been a busy day. It's a bad hair day, as you can tell. I've been out in the yard most of the morning. We had 2 broken sprinklers. Hi Annie. But our sprinkler guy showed up and he got it all. There were some wiring issues. He got that all fixed. Yay. All my plants will be getting watered again like they should. Hi, Ruth. So I'm happy with that. It's 2 o'clock, so enough about my day so far. Now I'm getting ready for open house, which is this Thursday. I hope you can come. If you have not already RSVP'd and you want to come, then please let me know right away. Hi, Rhonda. Who else did I miss? I think I said hi to Carol and Annie already. You're coming to open house. Okay, Annie, I will put you down. Good. All right. So, celebration's over tomorrow. Can you believe it? I hope you got everything that you want from celebration. If not, you have today and tomorrow. So I just wanted to remind you about that. You can choose from the little brochure, or you can choose from the pamphlet, the little printout that they have available now, a few extra things. Put this over here. Now I'm going to turn you down and show you who the winner was of the card last week, and I'm going to show you the make and take for open house. I hope you like everything. All right, let me turn you down. Hi, Mary Jo. How are you doing today? There we go. All right. So this is the card. Hi, Rosemary. This is the card that I made on Sunday. And I showed you the felt and re-inkers technique to make all these wonderful colors of florals, and it's just so pretty. Hi, Roz, and I'm going to teach you more about how to use this. Hi, Jean, and I'm going to use a Christmas set today instead of the artistically inked set that I used on Sunday. But first, let's see who won this card. And the winner is Roz. Congratulations, Roz. Now, I looked in my book already this morning when I saw that you were the winner, because I wasn't sure if I had your address or not. So please private message me. Actually, it would be awesome if you emailed me, and I can add you to my book. And then I won't need to add it in, I'll have it always, so when you win, I won't have to bother you with that again. Now I'm looking for my sheet with my email on it, and I don't see it. And it also has my host code, which I forgot about. But my email is MOF as in Frank, UN, so MoFun44 at iCloud.com. Okay, so that's yours, Roz. And a reminder that you're going to be automatically in a drawing if you ordered from me during the month of August. So this is what you would win if your name is picked. And they're very useful blending brushes. Always good to have a bunch of those. So good luck, everyone. Here is the make and take for Monday's open house. It's one of the slider cards. I had promised to do a slider card at an open house that I had to cancel. So I wanted to follow through, although I made it Christmas instead of Halloween this time. So anyone that comes to open house that is RSVP'd before the end of today will get to make this card absolutely free, no commitment at all. and it just slides off like that. I have not decorated the inside yet, but my customers and friends will have an insert for the inside, and they definitely can decorate that if they want to. So let me put this back together, and then I will get started with today's, hi Cookie, today's live. All right. So again, I'm going to use the Shimmer White cardstock, and here is the code number just in case you need that. And I'm going to still use the same colors, Polished Pink, Flirty Flamingo, Pumpkin Pie, on my felt. Those are the reinkers, the Evening Evergreen, the Old Olive, and the Parakeet Party, even though this is a Christmas card that I'm going to be making. And then I'm also going to show you another way to make cards quickly using this technique. You were going to need a Stampin' Spritzer to revitalize the felt. In case it has dried out, you can just re-wet it with this spritzer. I am going to use the textured elements on the Christmas card, little wooden elements. I'll just take one out right now. Let's see, I'm going to use the Evening Evergreen ribbon. It's called just Evening Evergreen, I believe. I don't think it has a, oh, Open Weave, and that is the code right there, if you want that. Also going to be using an Evening Evergreen blend. Our Snowfall Accent Puff Paint and our heat tool, you'll find that on page 43 of the mini. Evening Evergreen card base, and that is our normal size 4 1/4 by 11, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. And then some gold shimmer, or some gold foil paper, and I'll give you the dimensions for that as we get there. So I got my stamps on the blocks. Let me line them up like I should have done in advance. So I could show you the set. Leaves of Holly. Hi, Kim. Leaves of Holly is the stamp set I'm using today. There is also dies, Hollyberry dies. I will not be using the dies today, but I want you to know that there is the dies to coordinate with that. They are beautiful. I love I love the size. But I wanted to let you know how well this stamp set works with the technique that I used on Sunday. Okay, so let's come over to our stamp pad made with felt, and I'm going to touch that, and I see that yes, it is dry, so I'm going to spritz it. Also going to spritz the greens. Then I'm going to take my lined leaved photopolymer stamp, and I'm going to come over to the green, and I'm going to test it out on my scrap, like I said on Sunday. I like to test it out to see how it's going to be. That's a little bit too light for me since I've used it, so I'm going to re-ink again. I'm just going to throw some color on really fast. Okay, and then I'm going to spritz again just to get that ink all moving around on the felt. All right, now I am going to take the same stamp again and tap on here just as if it was an ink pad and stamp onto, yes. See how much prettier that is? Okay. So now I'm going to take the whole sheet of Shimmer White cardstock, and I'm going to just start randomly stamping on the whole sheet. The reason I'm doing the whole sheet is because then I have a background paper that I can cut up and use however I'd like for a number of cards, depending on the size that I choose to use for my cards that I'm making. So I'm going to just rotate my, hi Donna, stamp in different directions just to get the holly leaves look like they're just floating on the paper. No rhyme or reason. Just look at the ones that are close to it and go in a different direction. Is this regular felt or special felt? Regular, very inexpensive felt from any craft store. Now see, look at my block. I want you to pay attention for that happening and go to your chamois and clean that off so you don't get it on your cardstock. And if your felt moves on you, which mine just did, see how the two pieces are not laying on top of each other? Instead of inking up my fingers, I'm using the little tweezers, and I'm going to place that back on top of the other one so I don't ink up my fingers. Okay. And where do the tweezers come from? Yes, they are Stampin' Up. They come with these items with the tray. All right, back to my stamping. Tap, tap, tap. Move my paper. And continue on just like I was. Hi, Margaret. Welcome. All right. So I got mostly in the middle and a few edges, but not all the way around all the edges, because I'm going to take the solid leaf stamp from this set and I'm going to fill in just tips and pieces, parts, just to complete a page of leaves. And when I start to cut this up, if I feel like there's places that I needed more, I can always add. Is this kind of like it is like the baby wipe technique. I just prefer the felt because it's not as messy. Good question. This is not the baby wipe technique can be a little messy for me, I found anyway. Now I'm taking the berries in the stamp set, the solids, and again I'm going to test them to see, yep, they're good. And now I'm just going to randomly fill in my paper. Hi, Beverly. How are you? Beverly, my bench, my Susan bench makes me so happy every day I go out there. And I just love it. So I just had to tell you that. So I'm just randomly filling in, just looking to see where some berries would do this paper good. And I love this color. It's not red. You definitely could use cherry cobbler, real red, and all the reds that we have, and maybe a lighter color. But these same colors work. Since I had the pad already made, I decided to play with it and see if I liked non-traditional. Now here are the outline berries, and there's 3 berries at the top and 2 berries at the bottom, so I'm just going to pay attention to how my berries are laying, because remember I move them around, and I'm just going to put the 3 where the 3 are and the 2 where the 2 are, and I should be good. So I'm just going to go over all of the berries that I already stamped and add the little shadowing of the outline. See how easy this is to add, to layer with? Super easy. Turn it this way. My two there. There. Now see, I got some more on my block. Pay attention to that. Wipe it off. If worse comes to worse and you get some of your block on, you know, the ink onto your paper, you could do sprinkles and speckles and kind of hide it. But isn't that paper now very, very pretty? You guys like this? Very Christmassy paper. Okay. So now we're going to go to our card base. Which is 4 1/4 by 11, like I said, scored at 5 1/2 right down the middle. Hi, Deborah. And I am going to layer with a piece of gold foil. Hi, Debbie. Isn't that pretty, those two colors? I thought this card was very stunning, yet very, very simple. Hi, Debbie. So I like that, those two colors together. The gold and the silver looks great too. So this is 4 by 5 1/4 regular layer piece. Okay. While this card is flat, I am going to add an element on there, but you don't have to. And so I think even with the element, it might go through the mail at no extra cost, but I'm not positive, so I'm not sure. Speaking of the element, I'm going to go there right now to the element, and I'm going to give it some drying time, but I'm just going to push it down on my pad to get the berries the same color as the paper. I'm going to let it dry just a second while I'm doing other things, and then I'm going to go over the sprigs part with my blend marker. Okay, so this is layered now. So now I'm going to cut this. I'm going to start cutting up my cardstock. Go to your paper trimmer, and your white shimmer paper needs to be 3 3/4 because it has to be a little, this is 4, so it has to be a little bit narrower than the 4, so 3 3/4. By 5, I think this is 5, I put 5 1/4, but I think that's wrong. I'm going to do what I said, but I think that's wrong. I think it needs to be 5. Yes, it does need to be 5. Okay. So I wrote that wrong. Where'd my sliver go? Here's my little sliver that I cut off. So now we have a layer piece that's going to go right on the card like this. Then we're going to put another gold piece here. And this is where you can decide if you want to add more berries or some other spaces to be filled in. I think I'll add one here in the corner. Now, if you fill up your big piece of cardstock very well, get all the images closer together, you won't have to do this part. Put one there since I have a little bit of a stem showing there, and here, and then the outline. Okay. All right, so now this is going to fit right on here. Remember, this is Shimmer White, so there's a shimmer in there. Then this is going to go on top, and I am going to pop it up with a little bit of dimensionals, but you don't have to, so it can be completely flat if you want. Then I'm going to cut this piece here. It's also 3 3/4. And I'm sorry, 2 3/4. By 3 3/4. Now I see a big spot empty there, so I'm going to turn it this way so I get most of the image on the piece I'm going to use. Okay. Now this will layer here. So we've got all of this still left to work with on another card or on the inside, or cut up small pieces, whatever you choose to do. I feel comfortable now putting this piece down. And like I said, any of the foil paper, so if you don't have gold, that's okay. You can use silver or whatever shimmer paper you have, or foil paper you have. I'm stuck on shimmer today for some reason. Okay. Let that dry. Come back to this piece and take my Season's Greetings stamp, also in the set. Come back to my stamp pad, test it out. The 2 E's were not dark enough, just because I didn't press right, so I'm glad I tested it out. And now I'm going to find a space where I can read that and stamp down Season's Greetings. Okay. At this point, remember I talked about the ribbon. When you're going to add ribbon to your card, this is the point where you want to do it, otherwise it might be too late. Just going to cut off a little piece. Come over to my mini glue dots and put a mini glue dot on each end of this ribbon. And then bring this around. I'm going to use my silicone mat in case I start to get stuck on the, that'll avoid getting stuck on the grid paper. And then I will just place this down under Greetings. Tuck it under and push onto that glue dot. Now this little space right here, I can take another piece of ribbon. The gold holly leaves are still available, right? I don't know for sure. I can look when I get off of this live and let you know. I will reply. I can look it up after I'm off this live for you, though. That would be pretty on here. That would be really pretty on here. Just tying a knot. Then cutting this down so you can see the greeting. It is sheer, so even though it goes over the greeting a little bit, you can still read it. Let's see if I have my, since you asked about them, I don't see them up there. They're right here somewhere, my gold holly leaves, but that would be really pretty on there. Okay, so now I can add this here. So let me add the glue. So I'm looking at this little piece here that's 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. You could cut down a lot of pieces this size and add them as your focal point on cards. Doesn't necessarily have to have the whole background like I'm making right now. But it's a great way to make your own backgrounds and your own really rainbow pads. Remember back in the day when we had rainbow pads? That's what they were called when they had multicolors on them. You could even, when you ink up your felt, you could even do that. You could put the colors in a line so you would have more of a rainbow. All right, I'm going to take my blend and I'm going to color. This one, let me try the other end. Yeah. Get right on the areas I want with the pointy end. Now be careful with these. They're wooden and the little spriggy parts are thin or narrow. They're thick as far as wide goes, but they're not real fragile, but be careful with them. Okay. And then I shake my Snowfall accent puff paint. Don't know if that's required or not, but I was watching Sarah, a CEO of Stampin' Up, and she shook hers too. I don't know if it's just a habit, because I think she said she didn't know if it had to be, if you had to shake it or not, but she did it just like I did, and I started laughing. It's probably just a stamper's thing. So adding some of that there. You can always add more. Then I'm going to go back to my tweezers, hold this down and turn on my heat tool and puff that up. You just hold your heat tool pointing right at the puff paint, the liquid, and it'll start to puff in a minute. There we go. Okay. Then back to my, how funny. I wish I had smell-o-vision. Heating up this element, I guess because it's, I don't know, what's it, balsa wood? I don't know what it is. Kind of smells like popcorn. I'm goofy, I know. Smells good when you heat it up. How funny. Okay, so now I'm just putting a mini glue dot in the back of the stem there. And then I'm going to stick this down under the knot of my ribbon for this nice little element of snow there. We can flip this over. Don't press down though, because you have that puff paint there. And put on some dimensionals, which is, like I said, totally up to you. If you want your card flat, you can leave this part out. Will the markers work if you've done that? The mossy blend. Will the markers? I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will, Debbie. Let's try it, okay? But I think they would, yeah. So here is the card base. And now you're going to decide, look at this, over to the left a little bit. It's really pretty, I think. I really think it is. You can put it in the middle. I don't know if I'd like it down here. Oh, I kind of do. You know why I like it down here? Because if you took your dies and you cut out more leaves and you had them back there, oh boy, that just came to me right now. So I'm gonna put this towards the middle, but to my left. And isn't that a very, very pretty yet super easy card? The reason it's easy is you can just stamp this page up and then cut it down. Cut it down and have your pieces for your card. Now here's one with Whisper or basic white cardstock, not the shimmer. See the difference? The shimmer is more of a vanilla color and has that shimmer in it, but white looks pretty too. It's exactly the same, except this is in the middle where this is off to the left. So you can add to that if you want to get, fancier, but this way right here is pretty simple. All right, now look at this one. the same colors. This is even easier. So ink up your felt and get the dark leaves in the corner. Stamp a bunch of berries, both steps, and run them through the die cutting machine and cut them out with their matching die and layer those on top. Then I used a folder for the texture you see here. It is called Time Worn Type. I stamped Christmas Wishes and Season's Greeting. All three of those stamps are individual. I put them all on one block and stamped them all at one time. They're all in the set. So I did the stamping, I layered the berries, I stamped the words, and then I ran the whole thing through the folder so you can see the berries have the texture in them as well. And if you're at open house, you'll be able to see all of these in person. Everybody tells me they're so much prettier in person. Camera, I don't know why, but that's the way it is. Now, artistically inked, I used that set on Sunday. Now remember when I cut off a strip to cut my paper down, and this is with silver paper. You can do the same exact layout for a thank you card or all year round card. It doesn't matter. Here's one with gold, and it says hello. And these are on basic white cardstock with no texture. So you can add and add and add depending on how much work you want to put into your card. I would use a Stamparatus for the words on that card. That's a very good idea. I am not a perfectionist. I kind of wish I was, because mine are just willy-nilly. But yes, if a Stamparatus would do two things. It would ensure that you're completely straight. It would ensure that you get enough ink. You know, if it's too light, you can get it dark enough. And so that's a very, very good idea, Cookie. So there are the artistically inked. Here is the Christmas card that I promised. Leaves of Holly stamp set and dies. This one here. And this is Shimmer, and this is Basic White. Okay, I hope you like this technique, and I hope you'll try it. Try it with leaves and autumn colors too, burgundies, purples, greens, those types of colors, and make your fall cards too. I think it'll be beautiful, and I think you'll love doing that. All right, Annie, I'm going to put you down on my list to see you on Thursday. And anybody else that tells me they're coming by today will get a make and take. If you tell me tomorrow or the next day, I may not have make and takes for you. I always make a few extra, but I can't guarantee it. Okay? Thank you, Debbie. All right. See you soon. Bye-bye.